Welcome to the introductory video on Visual Studio Code, commonly called the VS Code. This is a prerequisite for the course on Python programming. In this video, we will see what is VS Code, and then we will take a short tour after installing VS Code. And in the next video, we will take a short tour of Jupyter Notebooks after installing it in VS Code. VS Code is a free and open source code editor available in Windows, Mac OS, and Linux machines. It has no native support for Python, and so we have to plug in Python as an extension. First, we will download Python. To install Python, we go to python.org. In that, we go to downloads, and we can download the latest Python version. Then we can double click, give install now, and say that you want to install this app. After the setup is successful, we can close this using the link which is given, that is code.visualstudio.com and docs. You can then download the latest version of Visual Studio. I'm using a Windows machine, and so I download the Windows version. This is again found in the downloads folder. You can accept and give next. And then install it. Once the installation is completed, you can give finish. Based on the operating system that you're working on, ensure that you download the right executable, and then you can choose the look that you want. I choose a light color theme. And then I can get started with VS Code. Open a new file. If you look at the options here, you can only open a text file or a Jupyter notebook. We do not have option to open a Python file. To open a Python file, we need to do some more. By default, VS Code does not provide support for Python. And so based on the Python extension, the link is also again given in the website. You can then install Python. You can open Visual Code and click install. Once Python is installed, we can start with creating a new Python file. I can close the unnecessary windows and then say print and probably print a hi. And then I can run the file. Before we ensure that we run the program, it is mandatory that we store it. Let's say I store the file as print1. It gets stored with a .py extension. And then when we run it, it gives the output as hi. So the key takeaways are the file has to be stored, and it has to be stored with the extension .py. This is called as the terminal window, and the output is displayed in the terminal. Congratulations, you have written the first code and executed the first Python program using VS Code.